Hey everybody, Gears here, and today I am examining the trunk, how I'm going to pull the glass out. Just removed the top brake light and just removing these brake lights in preparation to pull the bumper. The only surprise is that first, these things are held in by three 10mm bolts and two locator pins. The two locator pins on this were already broken. The Carfax report says this had light rear end damage at one point, 15 years ago at least. There's no obvious evidence of that. All the panel lines are pretty much relatively straight enough for a 20-year-old car. And when U-Haul installed my trailer hitch there, they had this off, and I looked at it then. There's no damage to the bumper that I saw, or everything indicated original paint and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. The light will still hold in, obviously, well enough. But without those two pins, I'll have to go to the junkyard and replace this one at some point. This one is fine enough. No problems there. Easy to remove. I had thought there was one bolt hiding behind the bumper and I'd have to pull the bumper too, but I guess you just have to remove the lights to remove the bumper because of this guy right there. And there might be one more. I gotta look at my notebook over there underneath the license plate. As to the hatch itself, certainly taking it off would be an ideal. That would allow me to get faded paint all along the edges here for when I do the roof and these back quarter panels. However, even removing this black weather stripping here and any fascia, that is just not any room whatsoever. There's certainly no way to do that electrically with a mechanical device. Well, what am I saying? Even a wrench is a mechanical device. But a powered, there we go. There's no way to get a powered ratchet in there, so that both of those bolts would have to be done by hand with the appropriate wrench on both sides. You can get a little more room out of this by pulling the struts off here. But this is like a 5-person job to get this off, is my guess. If you get 3 to 5 people, right? You need to be doing both sides simultaneously to maintain the pressure across both sides. So there's 2 people there. You need 1 person at least holding this up. However much this weighs, maybe 2 strong guys could handle it, but 3, probably. 4 is probably better. 2 people holding this back, and then probably a 5th person to be a spotter, I would guess, to run and help anyone, like having shortstop in baseball. You're just there to help out, basically. So, how I'm going to paint this? Well, I'll probably be painting it open like this, so all the interior is going to be masked off. I'd love to remove the window here, but it's next to impossible, essentially. There's just no access to it, and then there'd be no way to get it back in place, even though, ideally, I would replace it with a flat panel. You can't see out of them anyway. They're near useless. But a flat panel that holds an exterior speaker and maybe some motion sensors, things like that, camera, that kind of thing. But that's not for now. And when I do it in the future, well, if I got the pillars off anyway, we'll see. I don't think so, though. There's just no way to access it from the back side. I mean, over there, I just don't know how they put this in. Glue? I will guess, because I can't pry behind that at all. Even with my fingernails, that is freaking tight. I don't want to smash it out, of course. Ideally, I would take a casting of all that so I have the appropriate shape, depth, and all that kind of thing. So I'd have a fiberglass flat panel there. But yeah, this weather stripping here is on. There's no pulling that at all. So those are staying in place. So I'll be masking around them. Ideally, I would unbolt this, roll it out of place so I can get a fade in here and I won't have mask lines. We'll see how that goes. I could just mask the whole thing off, but you know, there'll always be that little weirdness going around that whole area there. That's probably what I'll do anyway. All of this weather stripping is staying in place. Well, actually, yeah, maybe I'll pull this off at least. I may not need to, but I would like to see what's going on with this plastic here. Is that black primer on the car that's been masked off? No, that must be black painted over the yellow? No. Alright, so that is a material. No, I mean, that could be a layer. No, it's not a layer of paint. But essentially, it could be. It's that thin. So I'm going to have to mask that off. Pull the bumper. This guy is next, probably. Oh, no, that is part of the bumper. It's just... What? They just masked this off for black instead of keeping it yellow? I guess so. So yeah, that is part of the bumper. Alright, alright. I had thought taking the light out would allow me better access to the antenna here, but maybe this will be enough. Maybe I just have to pull off that bolt. There's probably one behind that plug. And then I can pull this out from the inside. Push it outward from the inside, pull it into the inside. I don't know which. I definitely do not want it in place when I go to paint, because that's just a pain to get around there real nice looking. And how's this side? Yeah, it's... I looked around YouTube and there's one single video of a guy in his garage doing this, and he doesn't really show off how it was done very well. I'll have to go back through. I've bookmarked it. Yeah, so anyone who has a 350Z watching these, I have a 350Z maintenance playlist where I've collected all of my reference, so that could be helpful to you. This weather stripping can come off. That's just these small little pins right here. There's one nice and close if it's showing up. Small plastic pin. It's probably the that Christmas tree kind that expands inside, so it could be problematic to pull it out, and if they break. And in this case, this weather stripping is so big and floppy that I can simply tape it off and pull it back like this and not have any worries. I'll get a nice good edge of paint there. And as to removing the window, my last car I just smashed it out. For some reason I really want to keep this intact. Matter of getting a piece of piano wire in there, in between the window and the metal. Probably start off at a corner like this, get it in there, and then essentially you just kind of saw blade your way through all around the perimeter. These guys might be a little bit of a pain, we'll see. I'll have to pinch them in. And I'm going to expect this glass is pretty heavy. Whether I'll be able to handle it all myself, we'll see. Going to the junkyards, every Z I've gone to has had this same masking pattern, and I'm wondering why. Why is it that this could not go on afterwards onto yellow, but must have gone on to the gray primer? And that is gray primer, isn't it? White primer here, gray on top. Why would they do that? Because it'll fade at a different rate? The hood is white. We'll see what's under here, but this should be white because I already sanded a lot of the roof. But something like this over here, this is all the plastic is either no primer or a gray primer. I'm going to have to guess there's no primer on that, actually. I had thought perhaps it was gray, but that's the color of the plastic. And I certainly haven't been able to go below this gray to a black underneath it. Interesting. Alright, we'll talk about painting the doors in another video. Mostly I wanted to keep it about the trunk here. And ooh, coming up on 12 minutes. Alright, so yeah, that's a look at the trunk and everything that has to be done with this. Pulling the bumper off is next, along with that A-pillar there, which is delicate. Thanks for watching. See ya.